Letter 100 by Charles Lamb. Oct. 11th, 1802. Dear Coleridge, your offer about the German poems is exceedingly kind, but I do not think it a wise speculation, because the time it would take you to put them into prose would be nearly as great as if you versified them. Indeed, I am sure you could do the one nearly as soon as the other, so that, instead of a division of labor, it would be only a multiplication. But I will think of your offer in another light. I dare say I could find many things of a light nature to suit that paper, which you would not object to pass upon Stuart as your own, and I should come in for some light profits, and Stuart think the more highly of your assiduity. Bishop Hall's characters, I know nothing about, having never seen them, but I will reconsider your offer, which is very plausible. For as to the drudgery of going every day to an editor with my scraps, like a peddler, for him to pick out, and tumble about my ribbons and posies, and to wait in his lobby, and see, no money could make up for the degradation. You are in too high request with him to have anything unpleasant of that sort to submit to. It was quite a slip of my pen, in my Latin letter, when I told you I had Milton's Latin works. I ought to have said his prose works, in 2 volumes, Birch's edition, containing all, both Latin and English, a fuller and better edition than Lloyd's of Toland. It is completely at your service, and you must accept it from me. At the same time, I shall be much obliged to you for your Latin Milton, which you think you have at Howitt's. It will leave me nothing to wish for but the History of England, which I shall soon pick up for a trifle. But you must write me word whether the Miltons are worth paying carriage for. You have a Milton, but it is pleasanter to eat one's own peas out of one's own garden than to buy them by the peck at Covent Garden. And a book reads the better, which is our own, and has been so long known to us, that we know the topography of its blots and dog's ears, and can trace the dirt in it to having read it at tea with buttered muffins, or over a pipe, which I think is the maximum. But Coleridge, you must accept these little things, and not think of returning money for them, for I do not set up for a factor or general agent. As for the fantastic debt of £15, I'll think you were dreaming, and not trouble myself seriously to attend to you. My bad Latin you properly correct, but natals for nates was an inadvertency. I knew better. Progredire or progredi I thought indifferent, my authority being Ainsworth. However, as I have got a fit of Latin, you will now and then indulge me with an epistola. I pay the postage of this, and propose doing it by turns. In that case I can now and then write to you without remorse, not that you would mind the money, but you have not always ready cash to answer small demands, the epistolary nummi. Your epigram on the sun and moon in Germany is admirable. Take 'em all together, they are as good as Harrington's. I will muster up all the conceits I can, and you shall have a packet some day. You and I together can answer all demands surely, you, mounted on a terrible charger, like Homer in the Battle of the Books at the head of the cavalry. I will lead the light horse. I have just heard from Stoddart. Alan and he intend taking Keswick in their way home. Alan wished particularly to have it a secret that he is in Scotland, and wrote to me accordingly very urgently. As luck was, I had told not above 3 or 4, but Mary had told Mrs. Green of Christ's Hospital. For the present, farewell, never forgetting love to Pipos and his friends. Coleridge, who seems to have been asked by Stuart of the Morning Post for translations of German verse, had suggested, I presume, that he should supply Lamb, who knew no German, with literal prose translations, and that Lamb should versify them, as he had in the case of Thekla's song, in Coleridge's translation of the first part of Wallenstein nearly 3 years before. Lamb's suggestion is that he should send to Stuart epigrams and paragraphs in Coleridge's name. Whether or not he did so, I cannot say. Bishop Hall's Characters of Vices and Virtues was published in 1608. Coleridge may have suggested that Lamb should imitate them for the Morning Post. Lamb later came to know Hall's satires, for he quotes from them in his review of Baron Field's poems in 1820. Milton's prose works were edited by Thomas Birch, and by John Toland in folio. My bad Latin, in the letter of October 9, 1802. Ainsworth was Robert Ainsworth, compiler of the Thesaurus Lingu Latin, 1736, for many years the best Latin dictionary. Your epigram, Coleridge's epigram, on the curious circumstance that in the German language the sun is feminine and the moon masculine. It appeared in the Morning Post on October 11, 1802. Coleridge had been sending epigrams and other verse to the post for some time. Harrington was Sir John Harrington, 1561–1612, the author of many epigrams. Stoddart and Allen we have met. I do not know anything of Mrs. Green.